Hey everybody, I'm in my garage workshop right now and I'm building yet another display case for some engines. This case is going to go in the hallway room downstairs under the benchwork. I'll show you that spot in just a minute. So I built the case yesterday, took a couple hours, then I stained it, and as soon as the stain is dry, I'll apply some polyurethane, then I'll attach the backing board, and at that point it'll be ready to install. Now, this was quite expensive to build because, as I'm sure most of you know, right now, at least as of June 2021, wood is very expensive. I always like to use this Select Pine from Home Depot because it looks really nice, but it is reasonably priced, at least it used to be. And I guess it still is compared to stuff like oak and poplar and stuff, but these 6-foot boards used to be about $5 or $6 per 6-foot section. Now they're a little over $10 per 6-foot section. So for the Select Pine and the backing board, it was well over 150 bucks. So yeah, not cheap, but I really didn't have a choice because I've got a bunch of engines and no place to put them right now. So that's what this is being built for. And it's very simple. A lot of you guys have asked me to do a video showing how I build my display cases. And at some point, I might do a time-lapse video or something, but they're very simple. I mean, I'm not a carpenter by any means. It's just pieces of Select Pine, and then I screw them together, stain them and seal them, and it's good to go. I don't even put little cutouts for the wheels. I suppose I could. I do have a router, but I've never done it, and it's never been a big deal. So they're very easy to make. The only setback, at least right now, is that they're a little expensive to make because of the price of wood. Now, because this is going to be at floor level, eventually I will install some plexiglass doors on the front, but that'll come later. So what we'll do now is go downstairs and take a look at the spot where this is going to be installed. All right, so we're in the hallway room, and this spot right here, if you can't tell already, is where the new display case is going to go. Hey, Chessie. So I removed the skirting that was here, and it'll be replaced by the case, much like I did right here a few months ago. So basically the same thing, just extended onward. Now, the good news is that it'll add a lot of display case room for my engines. The bad news is that I will lose a little bit of storage underneath this area of the layout. This is where I used to store most of my Weaver models and some MTH stuff as well. And as you can see, I've had to move it all, and right now it's just sitting here in the hallway room. I'm gonna have to relocate this stuff elsewhere. Most of it will go under the layout here in the Colorado room, but some of it will also go under the layout in the main room. Now, I will be able to maintain some of the storage here right at the very end because there'll be a skirt right here. So I will have access into here, and so I will stack up some stuff right here at the front, but the stuff further back will be pretty useless. But at least it'll give me a little access corridor to get under this part of the layout if necessary to do any work. Now, in order to get the case to fit in this space, I had to do some modifications to the bench work because the case is going to go from this 2x4 all the way over to here. And prior to yesterday, there were 2 support legs right here that were right smack dab in the middle of where the display case was going to go. And so what I did is I installed some new support legs here. These are brand new. And then I was able to remove the ones up here and free up the space needed for the display case. So it's all ready. And as soon as the display case is finished upstairs, we'll be able to install it right here. All right, so the polyurethane has dried, and as you can see, I've attached the backing board. And so this display case is now complete and ready to be installed down in the hallway room. Okay, so I was doing a test fit with the display case and I ran into a new problem, which is right down here. I need to get rid of this piece because the display case is going to come right up against this 2x4. So I need to figure out a way to get rid of this piece or modify it so that I free up this space, but still have some support for these boards. Now, these boards don't serve any structural purpose. They were for storage. Now they're not going to store anything, but I still want them back here just to be able to crawl on them if I need to get back here and so forth. So I'll see what I can do. And there we go. So I cut off that piece and then attached a piece on the back here to go across. And now it's all good to go. And here's another test fit, and now it's fitting like a glove. So I'll go ahead and anchor it in, which will lift it up off the floor a little bit, and it'll be done. Here's my level, and this is how I like to see it when I'm installing a display case. From left to right, you can see it's right in the middle and perfectly level. But from front to back, it's level enough. To the eye, it looks level, but it's ever so slightly tilted back. And I do that just to give the locomotives a better chance of staying on the shelves. And that way, if there's any vibration or if somebody brushes by one of the engines, it tends to fall into the shelf and not off the shelf. It's not much at all. The tilt is imperceptible to the eye, but in my mind, it kind of just gives the locomotives a slightly better chance of staying on the shelves. All right, so there it is, looking pretty good, and it's ready to go. So I filled in this gap with that nice select pine, the same stuff I use for the display cases. And at some point, I will probably stain this to match the display cases. And I did the same thing over on the other side right here. Now, you might think that these display cases go all the way to the floor, but there's actually a little bit of a gap down here, about an inch or so. And I did that very much on purpose because this is a basement and basements can flood sometimes. I've never had any water in this basement, but it could happen. And so I wanted a little bit of a gap down here just to allow some safety in case there were some water down here. I'd have about an inch or so before anything started getting damaged. And then there's some storage right there. This section will be covered up by a skirt, but right now I don't have a skirt section that's the proper length. So what I'll have to do is take the skirt section that I removed from here and take it over to the alterations place down the street and have them hem it so that it fits this section perfectly. And I'll do that in the next couple days. All right, so looking pretty good. Now, the last thing I need to do is load this thing up with some locomotives, and that's kind of the funny part because I spend all this time and effort to make these display cases and they fill up really fast. So I've got a bunch of homeless locomotives up on the layout right now. I'm going to go ahead and put them on this display case and we'll see how fast it fills up. So yeah, instantly 2/3 full. I've got a little extra space, which is nice, but this thing is going to be full before you know it because right off the top of my head, I've got a bunch of stuff coming in. There's the Lionel veranda, there's the S1, there's the genset. I got a couple GP30s coming in, not to mention the Acela and a bunch of others. So this thing is already spoken for, and I'm going to have to start planning the next display case pretty much right away. And the bad part about that is, as I'm sure many of you know who have watched this channel for many years, I've run out of space for all the easy display case locations. And so I'm going to start having to do what I'm doing now, which is replacing skirts with display cases. I can't do that everywhere because I do need to have access to the underside of the layout and access for storage, but I'm going to have to do it wherever I can. Now, I could, of course, if I really wanted to, make a display case like this under the layout that was hinged so it would open up and give me access to storage behind it. But making one of these hinged and swinging out, that's a whole different level of engineering required for that. And I really don't want to do that unless I absolutely have to. And who knows, at some point I may have to do that. Anyway, that's about it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to support this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. That can be done through Patreon at patreon.com/ericstrains. Patreon supporters get all sorts of benefits and perks, and you can read about those benefits on my Patreon page. I'd like to put a big thank you out there to all of my current Patreon supporters. Your support means the world, not only to me, but to the future of this channel. And finally, if you'd like to buy an Eric's Trains t-shirt or anything else I might be selling, check out the Eric's Trains online store at ericstrains.com/store. Anyway, I'm Eric Siegel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh wait, you say you want to see some trains run? Okay, I guess I can give you a little bit of that.